from our global family who join us from all over the world. And then we'll open it up to any questions that anyone here may have. How can we be sure that we are living life the best way possible? The way to be sure is to know what the best way means. And only then can we do it. Because if you ask a lot of different people, what's the best you can do in life, or the best you can have, or the best way you can live? Well, different types of people are going to give you different answers. People whose entire life is focused only on getting money, getting power, getting things. Well, they're going to tell you the best life is the more you have, the better it is. Keep achieving, keep acquiring, keep buying, keep getting more and more. Then you'll be living your best life. Then you can buy everything. Do everything. There are people who will tell you the best life is just eat, drink, and be merry. Like, why bother? Just make sure you've got enough money to eat and drink and be merry, and that's all you need. But neither of those is really your best life. Neither of those is why we're here on earth. We didn't take birth in this sacred birth as human beings, with this ability to be conscious and aware. We didn't do that just so that we can make a whole bunch of money or eat, drink, and be merry. We did it so that we could experience the truth of who we are. That's what this is all about. And so the best life then becomes the life in which, in every minute and every moment, you are living connected to the truth of who you are. Connected to that presence of the divine within yourself. Because then many things happen. Number one, of course, you're on your highest path. But even back in terms of these other two types of viewpoints, well, number one, you realize you already have everything. You're already full, you're already whole, you're already complete. And you realize that the happiness that you have, the joy that you have in living your life, connected to the divine, in your highest truth, in love, just as this emanation of love. But in order to do that, you have to feel it inside first. That makes you much happier than all of the things you can eat or all of the things you can drink. Right? We think eat, drink, and be merry. Like they go together. Through my eating, through my drinking, then I will be merry. But we know that it doesn't work. You drink, you're hungover. You do stupid things that you regret the next day. Then, of course, you need more alcohol to help you forget the stupid things you did yesterday that you feel so embarrassed about. The true joy that we get from that divine connection is so much more powerful than all the food, all the drink, all the acquisitions, all the attainments. But we have to taste it. That's what ecstasy, now it's a pill that you take, and for a few hours you have kind of a different sort of experience, and then it wears off. And then you've got all kinds of other side effects of coming down, and if you want more ecstasy, you have to take it again. But the real ecstasy, that true intoxicated ecstasy of the sages and the saints and the mystics, that's an intoxication of God realization. And it doesn't matter how you conceive of the divine. It doesn't matter what your religion is, what your color is, or your race, or your language, or how you conceive of the divine. What matters only is that you feel it within yourself, that it's a connection with that within you that isn't separate from you. And then you feel it bubbling up within you. That source of joy, of peace, of love is actually within you. So that's the best life. So how do we know if we're living it? Well, every day you ask yourself, am I getting closer? Am I living more as my true self? How many times during the day did I react out of ego, out of ignorance, out of this false identity? How many times did I get jealous or competitive or angry that are just messages in my mind that say, I'm separate from others, I'm small, I'm nothing, I wish I had what that one had, that's not fair, I should have it. All of that is just telling us you are not whole, you're not full, you're not complete, you're not enough. But we know that we are. Right? In the scriptures we're told Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamadachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vishishyate. We have been created not just by infinity, but we have been created of it, which means by definition, whether you look at it mathematically or spiritually, that we are infinite. We are that which has been created out of that. So that the divine is, of course, still full and infinite. Through creation of us, the divine hasn't become less infinite. But we, created by that, of that, are also infinite. It's Mathematics 101. Infinity minus 10. Infinity. Infinity divided by 100. Infinity. Infinity divided by 8 billion. Infinity. So our best life is the life that is in awareness of that. And if I don't have that awareness yet, I'm working toward it. And I'm certainly letting go of all of the ignorance that tells me that I am less or lacking in any way. That I'm anything other than whole. That I need a certain amount of money, or I need to look a certain way, or go certain places, or own certain things, or achieve something specific. Get a particular degree or title or career. And only then I will be enough. Well, to live my best life, I have to let go of all of that. Because that's ignorance and falsehood. And as we pray, asatoma sadgamaya, we have to, it's not just allowing ourselves to be mired in ignorance, but praying to God to lead me out of it. We also have to use our own buddhi to help ourselves get out of it. And so everything that is telling me you are less, that's ignorance. So we move past it, through it. We don't let it hook us. And we move into the truth. And all of the practices we do that lead us into that truth are our best life. I'm happy to take any questions that are here this evening. I know we have a lot of students with us as well, so if any of the students, but also if anyone else has any questions, happy to take them. Yeah, first you and then you. Okay. Yay.
All of us keep wondering that what is death? Death is the only certain thing. Every being that is born has to die one day. Having said that, we are all scared of death. More than that, hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll start. Am I audible?
Yes, perfectly.
So all of us know that death has to come to us. We are born not to live here, but to go wherever we go. I don't know. Still, we are scared of death, and we continue to keep securing ourselves in a manner as if we are not going to die, number one. And if a near and dear one passes away, why do we mourn the death? Is there any reason to mourn death?
So, yes, of course, we know we all are going to pass away. We know that. We know this is temporary. We know that that which is born has to die. We know that. We also know on a deeper level that we are not the body that is passing. That we are not the body that is changing. That we are the soul, the spirit. That is never born, that has never died. That never dies. That as Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that universal teaching for people of every corner of the globe. As he says, you are that cannot be burned by fire, that cannot be cut by knives, that cannot be wet with water. So we know that. And yet, we fear death and we mourn loved ones, as you say. And it's not ignorance. It's this place where spirituality and humanity meet. It's the place where the wave meets the ocean. Now, if we say your highest truth is ocean, yes, your highest truth is soul, spirit, infinity. Never born, never dies. There is nothing but God. No place I end and you begin. We are one. We're not separate. That's our highest truth. Okay? That's like if you imagine that the ocean is infinite, that we don't have several different oceans, but just one infinite ocean, okay? And in that ocean there are waves. Now, the wave on some level you could say it's an illusion. The highest truth of the wave is ocean. It never stops being ocean. In the same way, we never stop being divine, infinite, soul. And there's this human piece, like there's a wave in the ocean. And yes, it's not the permanent, eternal truth, but it's also there. And if you're in the ocean, you better pay attention. Because I know we did so much relief work after the tsunami hit South India in 2004. Hundreds of thousands of people had died. Now, on the one hand, you could say, well, the wave, it was an illusion. right? It's all infinite ocean. And there was a very real reality of disaster and misery that we wouldn't be human if we ignored. And this is that beautiful space. It's not either or, it's yes and. Yes, we are divine. Yes, we are infinite. Yes, we are soul. And yes, we have these beautiful bodies, and these beautiful bodies have brains. And the brains have chemistry and electricity, and they have thoughts and emotions and feelings and memories, and we form relationships. And we love. And that's beautiful. And when we love and we lose, we mourn. And there's nothing ignorant or wrong about that. It's beautiful. If there's no one whose death you will mourn, you haven't lived. And simultaneously, even in our mourning, in our tears, is the awareness that their soul is still here. That the body has gone, but their soul is here. The soul hasn't gone anywhere. And we're aware of that. And then we again cry in sadness because they're gone. And we loved them and we missed them. And then again we anchor ourselves in that awareness of the infinite nature of the soul and the infinite nature of their presence, and we are again one with all of creation. And then again we mourn. Because again, sadness arises. And that's the beauty of being human. I deeply believe that if God had not intended us to cry, we wouldn't have tear ducts. If He hadn't intended us to love, we wouldn't have these hearts that open and melt. If He hadn't intended us to use our brains, to serve, to work, to help, we wouldn't have brains that have initiative and creativity and compassion. So all of that which we have because we're supposed to. Because God gave it to us. And so the question becomes, how to live in so much spaciousness that it's yes and. Yes, we are infinite. Yes, there is no birth or death. We're just soul. And that beautiful human existence that loves and then loses and mourns, that cries when we pass homeless people on the street, that creates and initiates and innovates solutions to poverty, to hunger, to homelessness, to environmental destruction, because we love. We love the trees, we love the river, we love the animal species we share this planet with. We love the humans we share this planet with. And that's very beautiful. And I do not believe that God has given us these hearts just to shut them up like a stone. I don't believe we've been given eyes that can see sunsets and sunrises just so that we can keep our eyes closed. So we love, with the awareness that everything is transitory. And then we mourn. And there's beauty also in the mourning, because in the mourning it means we've loved. And it means we've felt something. That we've actually felt what it is like to be human. Because remember, if God had wanted us only to be one with God, not in human form, this whole creation never would have happened. The Leela wouldn't be here. The Leela is here so that we can have this experience. While we wake up and realize the truth of who we are and reunite with the divine. So we are supposed to be having this experience. Let yourself have it, while simultaneously reading the Gita or whatever your scripture of choice is, meditating and remembering, oh yeah, we're all soul. Never born, never dies, it's all infinite ocean. And then you open your eyes and you love a little more. You serve a little more, your heart gets broken a little more. And then again you anchor in, you remember. And it's that beautiful dance of being a human, being a spiritual being in a human incarnation. Yeah.
So my question is similar to the first one. While answering the first question, you said that we have to find out the internal connection. Trust me, I have tried 100 ways. I have tried 100 ways to find out happiness again. I'm not able to. So is there anything that I need to concentrate on? This is something personal.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful question. So I'm not going to put you on the hot seat publicly, but I'm going to ask a bunch of questions that only you will know the answer to. You don't have to answer them publicly here for us, but just allow yourself, and of course this isn't only you. What is your name? Sampada, beautiful. So she says this is a personal question, but of course it's the question that so many have. I've tried 100 ways to find real happiness, to find that real joy inside me, and I can't. So the questions are, when you go within and there isn't happiness, what is there instead? And your answer, I imagine, is going to be some combination of anger, fear, unfulfilled expectations or desires, anxiety about the future. This is the stuff that makes up that which is not happiness inside of us. Right? We close our eyes to meditate, and instead of experiencing that joy, the mind is going. We're angry, we're stressed, we're worried, we feel badly about ourselves. The universe isn't behaving the way we would like it to. Okay? So identify what that is for you. And probably there's several things. But pick the one or two main ones. Like if I said to you, hey, I've got a magic wand. You want to be happy? No problem. You just tell me what to magic wand away in your life, and I'll make it go away. Think about what the two things would be. Imagine I'm a genie that gives you 2 wishes. 2 things I can magic wand away in your life. What would they be? And then when you look at them, what you realize is these are the things that are keeping me from being happy. This expectation, this anger, this grudge. And the dilemma becomes that we identify so deeply with that if I say to you, let that go, chances are you'll tell me why you can't. Why it's so integral to who you think you are that you can't let it go. But I tell you from a very personal level, it's a personal question, I'll give you a personal answer. From a very personal level, this is exactly where I was at the age of 25 years ago when I came. I had been through in my life so much beauty also, so much amazing love and opportunity and privilege and just blessings, but also so much difficulty and even trauma, like severe trauma. And in response to that severe trauma, I had chosen paths that so many of us choose that we think are going to ease our pain. We turn to drugs or alcohol or food or shopping or sex or gambling or whatever it may be, or some combination thereof. And then, of course, that just makes us more stuck. But that's where I was when I arrived. In a place where I was so identified with both that which had happened to me, as well as the identity and lifestyle that I was living, so that I didn't feel the pain of what had happened. And when I met Pujya Swamiji, I asked him about fear. And he said to me, you fear because you don't trust. Because fear was always something that had really ruled my life. I didn't trust. I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust the universe. I didn't trust people, mostly. And he says, you fear because you don't trust. And I then gave him my story, my whole story. Here's what's happened to me. Here's why I don't trust. And it was a story that up until that moment had gotten me nothing but sympathy. Sympathy, empathy, compassion, all of the good things. Anyone who heard the story had said, oh my God, you... Right? And Pujya Swamiji looks at me and he says, are you going to take that to the grave? I was 25. I was like, no, of course not. He said, so are you going to give it up on your deathbed? How about a week before you die? How about a month before you die? And he looks at me and he says, you're waiting for someone to draw the line. For someone to come in and say, you can be done with that. You can be free. He said, no one will. It's up to you. You can hold that pain, hold that anger, hold those grudges, hold that addiction, hold that identification to your grave or to your deathbed, or you can give it up tonight. And I was like, tonight? And he said, yeah, tonight. He said, I want you to stand in the sacred waters of Ganga after the sacred Arati ceremony. And I want you to offer all of your pain, all of your grudges, all of the identification to the river. And I'll tell you something. I thought there is no way this happens. I was a psychology student. Right? There's a process. There's work, there's challenges, there's complexes, there's issues, there's things that we have that we're stuck with. And I thought there is no way that rivers sweep away people's trauma. But I made a vow that I would at least attempt sincerely. Simply because of the being who had asked me. Out of reverence for this amazing being. I had just met him, he wasn't my guru yet, but I knew that he was one of the world's most renowned, revered leaders. And so out of respect for him, I did it sincerely. And I have no idea how long I stood in that river. A long time. And I cried and I prayed and I cried and I prayed and I cried and I prayed. And eventually I let it go. And again, I didn't think that it was actually going to be gone. Felt like a beautiful catharsis in a sacred river, but I didn't think it would really be gone. But it was. And I share the story with you because there's so much of us that we take as non-negotiable. This is who I am. And so there's no room for us to actually experience anything different. And so I would say to you, whatever those two things are that you would have liked me to magic wand away, ask yourself, how can you be free? Not necessarily of the thing itself. I mean, I couldn't rewrite my past and change that. But to be free of the identification with it. Can you be free of an attachment, free of an expectation? Okay, the world's going to do what the world's going to do. People in the world are going to do what people in the world are going to do. The only thing I have any control over is me. And the more I hold on to that which is keeping me stuck, I'm not able to find happiness. Not because it isn't there, but because all of these things are blocking it from me. Right? I mean, you just told me I would be happy if I could just magic wand away these two things. So let them go. Recognize your happiness is so much more precious than whatever expectation you have that's not being fulfilled, whatever attachment you've got that you think, I just have to have it, have to do it, have to achieve it. Or whatever has happened in your past that's eating at you. Stand in Ganga and let it go. Because your happiness, your real joy, it's your birthright, and it's also your most sacred thing. So be very careful which altar you're going to sacrifice your happiness on. And certainly don't sacrifice it on the altar of someone else's ego or ignorance or confusion, or the random fluctuations of the universe. Okay? Beautiful. Yes.
While religion is an instrument of spreading peace and love around the world, how does one protect their spirituality and devotion in a country like ours, where we're all so connected, yet so divided by religion?
So how do you protect your spirituality?
My spirituality and the God in my heart, the God I pray to.
Okay. Why is that God in your heart threatened by living amongst people of different religions? Or the division. Or I know you're not feeling that division, but living amidst the division. Yes, there are people who are divided, absolutely. Yes, there is conflict, absolutely. Sometimes it's over religion, sometimes it's over race or color. Why does that threaten the God in your heart?
It's the conflict that it doesn't threaten me, but it pains me to see that there is conflict. It pains me to see that there is intolerance, especially in a country like ours, where
that pain in your heart when you see intolerance, that is the God in your heart. Don't think the God in your heart is being threatened by that. That awareness of, I need to be spreading love and peace, that is the God in your heart speaking. That God is not threatened by the division. That God is calling upon you to spread and share. that love and that peace which you feel in the presence of God in your heart. Does that make sense?
It does.
So that pain in your heart is a good thing. This goes back to what we were speaking about earlier in terms of mourning death when we know that we're all just spirit. You're speaking to the very human aspect of this spiritual existence. Our hearts hurt when people are being harmed. Our hearts hurt when there is hatred, when there is violence, when people are suffering. And they should hurt. And spirituality is not that your heart stops hurting because people are dying of starvation, or killing each other, or hating each other. That is the awareness within us of what we are called here to do. Remember, Bhagavan Krishna told us, whenever darkness is winning out over light, whenever adharma, unrighteousness, is winning out over righteousness, I incarnate in human form, or not human form, but in form, sometimes human, in form, to bring back light to the darkness, to bring back dharma to the adharma, to bring righteousness back to unrighteousness. And we are also told, remember in our scriptures, that God lives within each of us, that every one of us is divine, which means each of us is that incarnation that is here to bring back light to the darkness. It should pain. That's your reminder, oh yeah, I'm not here just for eat, drink, and be merry. I'm here to bring back light to the darkness. I'm an incarnation of the divine. My heart should hurt, because that's what gets us moving every morning and serving. And it's what gets us more and more connected to our own truth, to that love, to that peace, that then we can share more and more with others. So beautiful. Beautiful. But you need also the exhalation part of the breath. Right? So the inhalation is the, right? My heart is hurting. My heart is hurting, it's painful. And the inhalation is also, I am that presence of the divine. But you also need the exhalation, in which you're able to rest, you're able to let go into that which we know is a perfect universe, even though we still must act. But to exhale into that which we know is perfect, which we know is divine, and that part of us that we know is divine, that isn't just the part that has to do it and accomplish it and achieve it, but that is already divine, where there's nothing to do, nowhere to go. And that inhalation, or those two inhalations and that exhalation, is that balance that you're going to need. Because if you just keep inhaling, you're going to die of carbon dioxide poisoning. You got to exhale. Okay?
Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening, everyone. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining us from all over the world. And I look so forward to being together with you all tomorrow.